Welcome to the Marketing Smarts live show by MarketingProfs and the Marketing Smarts podcast, where we dive into B2B news, resources, valuable guest content, and much, much more each and every week. Hey, if you're a B2B marketer looking for a place to learn, keep up to date, and have some fun along the way, grab a beverage, a notepad, or at least some style of writing utensil, and welcome to the show. Hello to all my Marketing Smarts live viewers today. I'm excited to bring you yet another episode of the Marketing Smarts live show. This week's topic is discovering the brain science that drives B2B buyer behavior. So if you're ready to get your learn on, buckle up and let's get ready to rock and roll. I'm your boy, George B. Thomas, speaker, trainer, catalyst, and the host of this here show, the Marketing Smarts live show and the Marketing Smarts podcast, found on your favorite podcast app. Today's guest clips are brought to you by none other than Nancy Harhut. Nancy Harhut is the founder or co-founder of CCO of HBT. That's a lot of letters, ladies and gentlemen. HBT Marketing, a direct and digital marketing agency driving engagement with, you guessed it, science. Getting people to take action is what Nancy is all about. Her specialty is blending best of breed creative with decision science to prompt response. And a frequent conference speaker, Nancy has shared her passion with audiences worldwide. Along the way, she has been named an Online Marketing Institute Top 40 Digital Strategist, Top 50 B2B Marketing Influencer, and the Energizer Bunny of B2B copywriting. Nancy and her team at HBT Marketing have won 200 plus awards for digital direct marketing effectiveness. Now, remember, the clips of Nancy Harhut today are pulled from the full Marketing Smarts podcast episode. And you want to listen to the full interview with Nancy Harhut and myself, make sure to tune into the Marketing Smarts podcast. The link to the full show will be in the description below after the live show ends. Let's be honest, it might be there now, but finish the show, then check out the links and go from there. In this episode, again, I'm talking with Nancy Harhut about discovering the brain science that drives B2B buyer behavior. In this first clip, I wanted to ask Nancy if we can use any behavioral science tips or tricks when dealing with multiple decision makers as B2B marketers. And here's what she had to share with us. Let's go ahead and take a look.
So there are, I think, at least 3 behavioral science principles that I would turn to that would help us as marketers address the multi-decision maker or decision by committee situation that we're in. One of them is the idea of the authority principle, right? We have a tendency to listen to authorities. We believe what they tell us. We do what they tell us. So as you're dealing with your multiple decision makers, you want to zero in on the biggest one, the most important one. If you can get their vote, people have a tendency to fall in line, right? So if you get the most important person, there's less likelihood that other people are going to try to buck the system because, the big woman, the big man says, this is what I want. So that's one way to go. Not always easy, but certainly one way to go. Another way to go is the idea of social proof, right? Just telling people that more and more people are on board. And if you're dealing with a half a dozen decision makers, if you can get 4 of them, the other 2 are likely going to just follow suit because we have a tendency to do what other people do, particularly other people like us. And in this case, it would be people who are on this buying committee in this particular company. They're like us, right? We feel that if other people are doing something, they either know something that we don't know, or at the very least, they have made a decision and we feel safe following that decision, right? We're not going to be missing out on something by not following them, and we're also not going to be risking a mistake because we're following them. And then the third thing I would point to is this idea of cognitive fluency, which is kind of a mouthful of a phrase, which basically means people prefer things that are easier to think about and easier to understand. So cognitive fluency is all about people prefer things that are easier to think about and easier to understand. Not only do they prefer them, they have a tendency to believe them more truthful and accurate, and they feel more confident in their ability to make a decision about them. And that's, of course, the holy grail for us in marketing, right? So what this means is we want to make sure that the information that we're putting out there is easy for everybody in our target market, the influencers and the ultimate decision maker, to understand. And when you've got this group of decision makers, some of them are going to have, maybe more technical ability. Others are going to be, listening in for financial information. Others are going to be thinking about the overall impact on productivity. So you want to figure out, all right, what's the best way for me to serve up the information so that I can get each individual person's vote?
Did you hear that? Are you leveraging the authority principle? Do you have and are you using social proof at your organization? And do you pay attention to cognizance fluency, or do you need to learn more about that in the future? You can use those three things to empower your B2B marketing when dealing with multiple decision maker scenarios as you move forward. Are you using at least one of these in your marketing today? Put that answer to that in the chat pane and let me know on X or using the hashtag MPB2B. And of course, tag me using George B. Thomas. Now, we'll get back to Nancy Harhut and her thoughts on discovering the brain science that drives B2B buyer behavior. But first, I have to ask, are you part of the Marketing Profs community? If not, become part of the Marketing Profs community by heading over to mprofs.com/MP today. That's mprofs.com/MP today. Now it's time for one of my favorite sections of the Marketing Smarts live show, in the B2B news, where we talk about breaking B2B news or really important tips we find on the Google News tab related to you and your B2B business. This week, the title is 2024 B2B Marketing ? Think Tech, Tailoring, and Business to Human Communication by Kristen Russell. Hey, in 2024, the golden trifecta for B2B marketers comprises leveraging technology, tailoring content, and embracing a human-centric approach. Amid the dynamic landscape of innovative technology and evolving consumer behaviors, marketing professionals face the challenge of staying relevant among competing voices. Do you have competing voices around your industry? I'm sure you do. With the backdrop of a forthcoming presidential election adding to the noise, yes, it is, differentiation and market value proposition become paramount. Delivering into the intersection of technology, utilization, and omni-channel strategy, here are a few insights on what we can expect from marketing teams across industries in the year ahead. Well, actually, to read that article and check out the link below when the live show is over. So let's get back to Nancy Harhut and her Marketing Smarts podcast episode. In this next clip, I wanted to ask Nancy about some of the hurdles we may face around behavioral science and our B2B marketing efforts. Listen in and see if you have fallen prey to those hurdles, or at least watch out for ones that you might run into.
Sure. So one of them we touched on briefly, and that is the idea that, I have a really, B2B focused audience, a really intelligent audience. They're making decisions, based on the facts and the figures and the good of the company. And we need to get B2B marketers to understand that that's not the entire part of the equation. So that's one myth, that emotion has no role here. It really does. Another is, sometimes you get an advocate within a company that, manages to get a test in there. We're going to try some brain science. We're going to test something. And, it doesn't return, a tenfold increase in ROI, and it's like, okay, it's a failure. And that one test gets behavioral science just written off for the next 10 years. We tried it once, it didn't work. And the truth of the matter is, it's an inexact science. You really need to test to find out what's going to work best for your market, for your message, for your product. And, a single test that doesn't necessarily work doesn't mean using behavioral science in your marketing is never going to work. And so that's one of the things that you run up against. You want to try a few things. You want to think about, as we were saying, why isn't someone going to want to do what we want them to do? What are a few potential ways that we can overcome that, and then let's get them out in the market. Let's test them. Let's see where we're getting some traction. And then I think the other thing is, people, they hear brain science or behavioral science and they think it sounds complicated, it sounds expensive perhaps, it sounds like I need to go out and get a degree that I don't have, I don't have the time to get it, I don't currently have it. And that's not entirely true. You can source people who have experience doing this, and the truth of the matter is you're going to send the message out there anyway. We're all doing the marketing. We're all getting the marketing out there. It doesn't cost any extra to make it brain friendly. It's easy enough to do. It can be the matter of framing something one way, phrasing something a different way. It's just getting a little understanding about behavioral science, or tapping into someone who's got that understanding and beginning to feed it in.
I have to ask, did you hear any hurdles that you may have faced? You now have a couple you can watch out for at least. I love that Nancy talked about testing and trying a couple of things versus doing it once. And because we didn't get the result we wanted, we quit. Test, test, test. That's the way to B2B marketing success. I also love her saying it does not cost more to make it brain friendly. Now, we'll get back to Nancy Harhut in a few minutes, but first it's time for some dope B2B learnings from the vault of MarketingProfs articles. That's right. It's time to dig into the treasure trove of valuable information and pull out two pieces of gold to help you be a better B2B marketer. Article number 1 this week, 4 visual neuromarketing hacks to boost your branding by Mostaf Dastras. Decision-making happens in seconds without any general mechanical calculatable pattern. Any visual detail of your branding activities can influence your customer's decision-making process. The challenge that brands are confronted with has to do with the probable effect each detail has on the human mind. An illustrated color, however minor, misplaced text, however clear, or a miscalculated name, however meaningful, could have the most negative or nerve-wracking effect on people. You can find more about that article in the link below. But article number 2 this week is 5 effective neuromarketing principles that boost marketing efforts by Laurinus Skupas. Neuroscience helps us marketers understand customers' behavior by giving us deep insights into what works and what doesn't in persuading our customers to buy a product or service. Neuromarketing, the use of neuroscience principles for marketing, can help to boost your efforts to achieve massive benefits for your brand or organization. The following 5 neuromarketing principles, when put into practice, will boost your marketing and advertising campaigns. Want to keep learning about those 5? Well, keep learning. If so, check out the links in the description below after the live show to get access to both amazing MarketingProfs articles and the tips and lessons held within. All right, back to Nancy Harhut. Let's dive back into this conversation of discovering the brain science that drives B2B buyer behavior. In this clip, I wanted to ask Nancy about success or doing it right. What should we consider and where should we be heading as B2B marketers, especially when we step into marketing knowing there are 3 types of humans that might bump into our marketing? You'll see what I mean. And here are her thoughts.
We want to be honest. We want to be responsible. We want to be ethical, right? Just because we can potentially cause action, change behavior, doesn't necessarily mean we should. So, for example, if I say, we've got this 50% off sale. If you get in now, you can save 50% off, but it's only good this week. If that's true, my prospect is going to benefit from that. But if 2 weeks later I'm running the same sale, I've essentially misinformed that prospect, and that's just, it's not honest, it's not ethical, it's not responsible, it's not what we want to do. So we want to be respectful of our customers and our prospects. We want to help them come to a decision that they're going to find beneficial. When you think about it, we've got a target market out there that we've defined, but the truth of the matter is, some people are going to see our message and they're going to say, this is what I have been looking for. Awesome. And they're going to buy. And then you're going to get some people who, even though technically they're part of our market, they're going to say, you know what? No way, no how. I am a dyed-in-the-wool customer of such and such a corporation, and I will only buy from them. So, we're not going to convert them. We're probably not going to convert them. But then there's that middle ground of people who could probably benefit from our product or service, but we've got to reach them, and we want to reach them in an honest way, in an ethical way. We want to give them information that they will find helpful and useful, and we want to give them that nudge because there's a lot going on in people's lives, right? And they don't always have the attention that we would like to give them. We spend far more time and effort on our marketing communications than any of our target does consuming them, right? We pour over them to make sure everything is perfect, and they glance at them if we're lucky. So we want to make it as easy as possible for people who really can benefit from what it is we have to say to encounter our messages. And if we do that honestly and ethically and responsibly, if we think about who's on the other end and think about that person as a friend or a family member, would we want to mislead a friend or family member? No.
Did you hear that? Honestly, ethically, treating humans we are marketing to like they are family members. So much great information in Nancy's answer to that question, to be honest with you. Now, we're going to get some words of wisdom from Nancy Harhut here in a few minutes, but right now it's time to turn the spotlight on you, the MarketingProfs community. Yep, time for from the hashtag MPB2B community. We searched far and wide in the hashtag MPB2B universe to find amazing information and conversations to bring to you, the masses. So first, make sure you're using the hashtag, and second, make sure you have fun and add value to the community along the way. Then we'll spotlight you or your crew on the show. This week, it's B2B Marketing Zone, or at B2B Marketing Z on X. And it goes a little like this. B2B Marketing Expert Interview Series, Feeling B2B with Joe Polizzi, hashtag MPB2B by @TopRank. There's a link there that you can click on in the description and in the actual post. Hashtag B2B marketing, hashtag B2B, but you need to check out the description. Click that link, check out the post, read and learn more. Joe Polizzi, ladies and gentlemen, he's the godfather of content marketing. So, there's some good nuggets in there. Marketing Smarts viewers, I have to ask, are you going to be next to get the spotlight? Remember, community, use the hashtag MPB2B on Facebook, LinkedIn, or X to get the light shined on your awesomeness in the next episode or a future episode of the Marketing Smarts live show. Pro tip, it won't hurt if you tag me in your post as well. I'm at George B. Thomas on LinkedIn and X, Mr. George B. Thomas on Facebook. All right, let's kick it back to Nancy Harhut and some words of wisdom around this topic of discovering the brain science that drives B2B buyer behavior. Here's what Nancy Harhut wanted to leave us with for final, well, at least for this episode, words of wisdom.
So, words of wisdom, wow. I think it would be that we have to remember that people, our customers and prospects in the B2B world, are making decisions that are influenceable or nudgeable or triggerable, that they're not these, automatons that are only making decisions based on facts and figures and data. That really, at the other end of our communications are people, and people have emotions, and people rely on decision-making shortcuts. And as marketers, it's smart for us to get on board, and more marketers are. There are senior level, even chief behavioral officer level positions at companies like Microsoft and Google and Amazon. So it's out there. Companies are understanding it, companies are benefiting from it, and we should just begin to embrace it, because it's going to make things better, not only for ourselves but for our customers. So if you're not on the brain science bandwagon yet, jump on. My book is a good place to start. It'll give you a good introduction, but it's going to make you a better marketer, and it's going to make you more valuable to your customers and prospects.
Did you hear that? People are making decisions that are nudgeable or triggerable. They are people. They have emotions, and they use decision-making shortcuts. Companies understand this and are benefiting. Is your company on the brain science bandwagon yet? Another question for you. Have you enjoyed today's journey? Let us know. Use the hashtag MPB2B on whatever platform you're joining us on. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. Time flies when you're having fun. Head to the description below. Click on the link to the full Marketing Sports podcast with Nancy Harhut, and keep on learning more about discovering the brain science that drives B2B buyer behavior. Remember, these were just a few clips of the original Marketing Sports podcast interview. If you got value from today's show, hit that like, and better yet, share it with a friend. To keep learning more, hit subscribe or watch additional MarketingProfs videos on your favorite social channel, or head over to our YouTube channel if you're not there yet. Or you can go tune into the original Marketing Sports podcast episode on your favorite podcast app. Don't forget to become part of the MarketingProfs community by heading over to mprofs.com/MP today. That's mprofs.com/MP today. And as always, remember to be a happy, helpful, humble B2B marketing human. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Marketing Smarts live show next week.